Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are going to be testing out and reviewing the BN2 Islander. This is a really awesome little aircraft that I've seen on multiple YouTube videos that honestly somehow had slipped past me. I didn't even realize was available in the store, so today we're going to check it out firsthand. If you are interested in acquiring my Overkill's Cessna Citation Longitude guide from Microsoft Flight Simulator, consider joining my Patreon site at level tier 2 or above. That's $10 or more, which will give you access to all of the Overkill tutorial guides. Please keep in mind with Patreon, you do not have to subscribe each and every month. Once you subscribe, you will be charged $10. You will have access to all of the guides, and if you wish, you can then cancel the subscription, and you will maintain access to Patreon until the first of the following month. So, with that in mind, let's talk about what this guide is. This guide gives you a full flight tutorial from Boston to Minneapolis. It also walks you through installing any modifications that I use for this aircraft, a full cockpit tutorial, breaking down how to create your flight plan using SimBrief, which is a free service, and then completing the flight successfully. If there are any questions, you're always welcome to give feedback, as joining my Patreon site gives you access to my Discord channel as well, giving you direct access and communication to me. So once again, if you guys are interested, please consider joining the Patreon. It definitely helps support the channel and keeps the content coming, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Alright, so jumping right into it, this aircraft on the exterior looks fantastic. No issues whatsoever. The wing looks great. The glossiness is fantastic. It's not too much or overpowering. Really enjoy the texture detail. The wheels look fantastic. Got no issues there either. Let's come on down a little bit low. All the doors are open. Anyone who's watched my channel for any extended period of time knows how much I love that kind of crap. It really does just make my day when I can do those goofy little things. I don't know why. It just does. But anyway, so as far as the exterior goes, I really have no issues whatsoever. So let's go ahead and jump into the cockpit. Alright, so stepping on to the business end of the BN2, the textures look really good, honestly. They really do. There's a couple little spots that may be a little bit on the washed out side, but I'm not even going to point them out. If you guys don't see them, then more power to the developer. But I like it. It's got some wear and tear marks and beat up marks indicating an older aircraft that, that's been around for a minute, and it certainly has. Now, one of the few things that I have done before starting the video was sort of played around with the doors and things, and they are actually controlled by these switches right here. Now, the door animation is extreme. Oh, hey, I didn't even notice the window opened. Learn something every moment. But anyway, as I was going to say, the door animation is intense. Like, bam! Like, don't ever be standing in front of one of these doors, because, man, it's going to knock you right on your butt. Anyway, so like you can see here, very simple on the yoke, not a whole lot of detail to it. But again, with an aircraft like this, there just wasn't much there. And like I said, if you guys can find the spots that are of issue, then great. If not, I'm not going to point them out this time because I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing so far. Here's our fuel valves. So we got the port tank and the starboard tank, starboard tank, port tank. And then from here on out, guys, we're just going to be sort of figuring this out as we go. We need to make sure our control configuration is set. Now, one of the things I am going to do really quick, guys, is once again, anytime that I get a new aircraft, I always like to set up my own views. I've gotten a lot of questions recently on how to do that, so I'm going to show you guys real quick how I do that for me. If you are already comfortable with creating your own custom camera views and you have your own methods, please feel free to skip ahead to the next chapter. All chapter links are down in the time bar as well as in the description below. For those of you who are interested in this part, here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you with keys that I have bound, and that would help if I was in the right menu. So we're going to go to control options. I want to make sure that you guys are set on the keyboard. That's the first start here. Okay, we're going to go to keyboard, and I'm going to search by input so I can show you guys everything that I use. Okay, now what you want to pay attention to is just the up arrow here, or just the arrow here. So increase cockpit view height, decrease cockpit view height, translate cockpit view right, and obviously the inverse. Oh, helps if I click it. There we go. Translate cockpit view left. Those are the primary ones that I use, but then now for forward and backward, okay, I'm going to go Shift and W. translate cockpit view forward, and then same thing for S. Okay? Then you're going to have Control and Alt and a number. So for example, if we do Control Alt and 1, save custom camera 1. And then, so you're going to put the camera where you want, and this is 1 through 0 on your number key, on the number row above all of your letters. Okay, not the numpad, don't mistake the two. So 1 through 0, and then to actually go to that camera once you've saved it is load custom camera, Alt and 1 for me. Okay, so actually this works perfectly. To save the camera view is Control Alt and the number desired. To actually go to that camera is Alt and the number desired. All right. Now, before we leave here, let me make sure that my... Nope, it is not. We need to be on twin complex for my Thrustmaster today. I still do have the Bravo, guys. Plenty of people have been asking for it. Again, we are moving this weekend. So the Bravo and Alpha are currently put away. But they will be out again very shortly. Okay, so now to save my views. So I'm going to use my arrow keys to sort of set my height and horizontal position. Okay, the other thing you can do is also your mouse translation. Okay, wherever you save your mouse is pointing is also going to be a part of that camera save. Keep that in mind. So we want to make sure our camera is pretty straight. This looks like a pretty good height. I always like to be a little bit taller than what most of the defaults give me, and I use the window typically as a good guide. That's pretty good. So we're going to do Control Alt and 1. That has now saved that camera view. And then from here, I mean, obviously that's your default view. So from here, you're going to be looking into where am I going to be looking around a lot? Like, for example, in this particular aircraft, we have an overhead panel. We're obviously going to want to be up there. So we're going to try to create a view where we get as much of it as possible. And we can even back up just a hair here. And let's see here. I think I can get to these from here. Yep, that's good. Everything else. So I'm going to do from here... Control Alt and 2. So now if I hit Alt 1, there's our default view. Alt 2 comes back up to our overhead panel that we just created. And then from here, what you want to do is you want to look around the cockpit. What's going to be a real pain in the butt to get to if you need to? Or what are you going to find yourself wanting to get a nice, good view of at certain times? So obviously, I would say the radio stack would be another real big one. So we're going to, again, move our camera up correctly. Let's bring the camera in a bit. Sort of like that. And I'm keeping an eye. I'm making sure to keep these switches, although they are inoperable. Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not. All right, cool. So then, yeah, we'll keep the switches in. I'm not going to worry about the circuit breakers. Okay, we don't worry about the circuit breakers because, you know, none of them are modeled. So keep your views as nice as you can. So this will be, let's see here. We have an overhead panel. This will be Control Alt and 3. So now we have Alt 1, 2, 3 coming down to the radio stack. And I think we're going to do one more for functionality, and that's these lights. If you can see, they're sort of down there a bit. What do we have here? These are the carburetor heat, I believe. Yep, that's carb heat. Yep, so we're just going to grab the lights. Lights and the anti-ice box. And we can come up front just a little bit here. Keep it real simple, and you just want to be able to read everything. Keeping it nice. Control Alt and 4. And that's it. And the nice thing about these open cockpits like this, though, is we can also take our Shift and S, translate camera view rear, and go back. And now we can make a fun view, right? So let's make a passenger view. Where's the seat here? Seat sort of goes there, so let's come forward just a bit. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. It's actually a really boring view. You can't see anything. Well, I guess it wouldn't be so bad when the gear comes up, but man, that's terrible. I wouldn't want to sit right there. Let's see what's up here. What about right behind the pilot seat? That's not any better. This is not your scenic view airplane, is it? All right, so let's go with this one. I think I liked this one better. Once we get that landing gear out of the way, I think it won't be so bad. Yeah, that's terrible. I hope that's a landing gear or retractable. I don't even know if it is retractable, truth be told. I have to go up and look for a landing gear handle. This may be it. So what I do with these weird, you feel like you're right there. What I like to do with some of these views is we'll go more center. So pull your camera over more towards the center. And then that way when you look out, it's not as boom in your face, right? You know, you're not plastering your head against the window. I was curious if the lights work. They don't. So from here, like we'll do like a Control Alt and 5. Okay. So now we can go up. Uh-oh. There we go. There's Alt 1. And then we can do boom. There's our 5. Go to the overhead panel, whatever we need to do. So anyway, that's a real quick breakdown on how to create your custom camera views, guys. I hope you guys appreciate that little tutorial. Let's move on to the rest of the review. Okay, the other crash that I ran into with this aircraft was I could not locate any official documentation for the aircraft. The checklist is empty, of course. And when you go into the installation directory under the One Store, because I got this from the marketplace, knock on wood, everything goes okay. I don't normally buy from the marketplace. I tend to have more problems than it solves, but you know, going where we can here. Anyway, could not find any official documentation. So what I ended up doing was downloading a checklist from JD. He does fantastic work. I love his checklists. You can find this on FlightSim.2's website. I will have a link provided down in the description below for this. And guys, I also want to apologize for that. I have been saying a lot of things like that lately. Like, oh, link in the description. And then I forget. Please forgive me. My brain is so full right now between the move and work and YouTube and kids and life and blah, blah. I scatterbrain. I admit it. I've been sort of a riri with that. Just make sure to comment. Hey, Mike, you said that there was going to be a link here. As soon as I see it, I had one gentleman do it yesterday. As soon as I saw that, I jumped right on it and put the links in. So please forgive me for that. But anyway, so JD does fabulous work. I love his checklist, but this is what we're going to be using for today's review, as it is the best information I can find on the aircraft, unfortunately. And I don't mean unfortunately, you know what I mean. I can't find the official documentation, so that sounded really bad. That again, I can't stress enough. JD, I love your work if you hear this. All right, so now let's get into the engine start and flying this aircraft. All right, so let's try to figure this girl out. So let's see here. What do we have down here? That should be the parking brake right down there, right? All right, so parking brake is set. That is our throttle. I don't know why it won't let me bring the pitch back. Is that... Sorry, they were linked together. That's as far as the pitch goes back, huh? It's kind of weird. Oh, that's for the feathers, so it doesn't actually let you pull it back. I'm seeing if it had similar functionality to like what the TBM did, where you sort of have to left click it, then tap the right click, etc. But I guess not. I guess that's it. It stays down there. Okay, cool. All right. So we have flap control here. We already determined that was the carb heat. So parking brake is set. Master battery switch. Let's find the battery. There's the master battery. Master battery is on. There you go. You can kind of hear something coming up here. Generators need to be off. Generators are off. We got port gen and starboard gen. And let's see here. Fuel selectors free and on. All right. So I can't tell. That's off. All right. We're just going to double check. So I'm going to do some weird camera action here. Now, why would you want to change? So you can actually set the... It looks like you can set the port engine to use the starboard tank. I see. All right, I gotcha. That's a little odd, but all right, it works. So it gets like sort of difference of crossfeed there. That's interesting. All right, and fuel valve. Or fuel selectors free and on. Now, I would assume that's the fuel selector. Fuel valve, there we go. Fuel valves should be off. And what was the other one? Fuel pumps are off. So there's right and left. Cool. All right, moving on down. Fuel quantity check. Okay, we've got left and right tank there. Got about, looks like 32 gallons per tank. Yep, US gallons. I was making sure I had the measurement correctly. All right, let's keep on moving down. Outside air temperature indicator. We have an outside air temperature indicator. There's flap indicators. Battery, volts. I don't see... I'm looking, guys. I'm looking. Airspeed indicator, attitude director indicator, altimeter, slip indicator, HSI, horizontal situation indicator, vertical speed indicator, nav1 and nav2 indicators, manifold pressure, RPMs, port and starboard, NDB, guidance indicator. Alright, I don't see anything that gives me an outside air temperature, so we're just going to skip that portion, I guess, because I don't... That's the Hobbs. What's this guy down here? Just out of curiosity. Looks like fuel flow. For the left and right engines. Cylinder temp, left and right. Oil temp, left and right. Oil pressure and fuel pressure. Okay. Pretty easy aircraft to get around, though, isn't it? Alright, well, I don't see outside air temperature, so we're just going to keep on moving. But that was kind of a fun little tour around the cabin. Alright, so moving on down. Altimeters. Let's go ahead and set our barometric pressure with the B key. There we go. Looks like it's set. Cabin heater in, door warning lights. Press the test. Now, some of this stuff may not be modeled either, come to think of it. What is this? Passenger door warning. Says to press it, but I can't. Alright, and then we're supposed to be looking for a generator low volt warning. There they are right there. It looks like they are on. So the lighting is a little weird. Altimeters we checked. Timepiece check and set. So there's our clock right down there. Let's see if we can actually set that to local. Kind of curious. Nah, it doesn't look like it can be adjusted. That's too bad. That would have been kind of cool, actually. I actually think that's a really good thing to have in simulation, the ability to change the time as far as the clocks inside the different aircraft. Because if you set it right, you can pay attention to how long you've been flying for. Especially helpful in VR. Cabin heat as required. Airframe, de-icer, cycling lamp. Press to test. Windscreen de-ice, air conditioning. I don't see a test button for the de-icing. And there's a de-ice panel here. Oh, look at that. Instrument lights. Talk about old school, huh? Yeah, I don't see anything. These are markers. That's lighting. Alright, we'll move on. We'll look for that kind of stuff later. I'm sure I'm just missing it. Yeah, I don't see anything up there. We'll keep on going. Okay. Compasses, we checked and verified. Here's our compass here. Oh, there's the outside air temperature indicator right there. So we're looking at about, what was that? 35 degrees Celsius and pushing about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Nice. Cool. Found it. The old thermometer. Let's see here. Engine and flight instruments. Check. Circuit breakers all pushed in and closed. Manual to emergency bus warning. Bus bar warning. Main to emergency bus bar warning. Press to test. There it is. I don't know if it's going to work. Doesn't look like it. Alright, well that's where it would be if we could use it. It's okay. Still fun to at least go over there and find everything. Okay, and flight controls, full movement. Boop. Yep, alright, good. Ow, that hurt, in case you guys are wondering. Alright, let's go ahead and close that away for a second. And now let's look into... I think we're just about ready for engine start. Flaps, check movement. So here we go. There they are right there. Oh, need the hydraulic to bring them back up. Oh, no, I don't. No, I don't. I know what happened. It's because I had my finger on the right click moving the camera around. Nice. All right. So flaps checked and marker beacon lamp test. And that was over here as well. and doesn't have functionality. All right, avionics and radios are off. Throttles are closed. Propeller controls are full forward. And mixture is full rich. Carburetor heat is off. Check. All right, parking brake still set. Beacon light. So let's see, what did we set that to? I think we came down to number 4. So there's our beacon light set. And let's see here. Left-hand fuel selector should be on port tank. Right-hand fuel selector should be on starboard. We already did that. That's up top. Those guys right there. Port tank, starboard. Good there. Let's come back up top. Fuel pumps go to on. So let's see here. There's pump 1 and pump 2. And fuel valves on and open. Propeller controls still full forward. Mixture full rich. Right hand throttle prime, move 1 lever to 4 times or 1 to 4 times through the full range. All right, so we're just gonna do this. Oh, wrong one. Let's grab this one. There we go. Boom, boom. Oh, you can see the fuel. That's fuel flow. So I wonder what that one is over there. Is it the same thing? Nope. I don't know what that one is. We'll have to check that later. All right, 1 to 4 times. So there was, I think, 4. Right hand throttle 1/10 open. Guess we'll call that about a 10th, right? Give or take. And then let's see here. We have left starboard magneto to on. The magnetos I saw were up there, I thought. Yep, starboard magneto. So left starboard magneto on. Then starter, select right engine. Where is the starter? Oh, starter, here we go. Boop. Oh, looks good. Sounded great. And then throttle, we're looking at 1,000 to 1,200 RPMs. So let's see, where was our RPM gauge again for the right engine? There it is. Well, we're actually right about there. Okay. Oil pressure, check. We have oil pressure. There it is right here. Looking good. Little high. All right. And now we just repeat for the left engine. All right. So let's cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to 1/10 open. Come up top. Magneto. Beautiful. Now I can sync up the throttles. There we go. Starter switch guarded. Fuel pumps can come off. And generators need to come on. And now we just need to turn on the avionics. I'm guessing we do that manually, but let's double check here. Oh, hey, we actually created a view just for that, didn't we? Let's see here. I don't think we have power yet. Let's look down here. It switches between the two. DME versus marker. Gotcha. Okay. And let's see here. I gotta remember how to turn the Garmin 530 on. I really think I'm missing an avionics switch. I can almost guarantee I'm missing an avionics switch. So let's see if we can't find it, because I'm not seeing it. External supply. Port gen. Instrument lights. Air conditioning. What do you guys think? We're in trouble here. I would think that it would have been down there. I've got to be missing something silly. That's for the mic. That's audio selection. Oh, hey, stall warning. Oh, right there. Wow. Right there in front of my face. All right, cool. Groovy. So, as far as I can tell here, we are now ready to get ready to taxi and go for a quick flight. All right. So let's see what we have to do to finish this takeoff process. So I'm just looking over at our checklist here. Maybe I can bring it up for you guys. Let's do that. Okay, so let's see where we're at here. After engine start, we have our avionics on. Avionics, GPS, autopilot. We're not going to worry about that. Transponder we need to set. We already set the altimeter. Cabin heater as required. De-ice as required. Flight instruments check. Flight controls check. Alright, so let's set our transponder. That's definitely a must. And let's see here. Well, 7,000. We're already there for VFR. Remember, we're out here in the Caribbean. We're at St. Bart's. And this is actually a really cool livery, by the way, guys, that comes with it. This is the St. Bart's commuter. So that's kind of neat, St. Barth. It's kind of weird how the audio does that. Let's see what the audio sounds like behind the aircraft. I didn't even think about that. That's really odd. So the audio is a little weird, but I mean, it still sounds good. Still sounds great. I have no issues with that whatsoever. All right. So now what I don't think this aircraft has is a retractable landing gear. So that would make sense on the landing strut down there. So we'll see, because I'm not seeing one. Got the parking brake, but I don't see a landing gear handle. So I imagine it's stationary. Alright. So now we're going to move to the next section here. Parking brake is set. Propeller full forward. Alright, so this is for the run-up. We're not going to worry about the run-up today. I'm sure you guys are interested in seeing this thing fly now. Nav lights, landing taxi lights, parking brake release check. Before takeoff, doors are closed. Transponder set. Strobe lights on. Agreed. Propeller full forward, full rich. Carburetor off. Trim tab set to neutral. We can fly either takeoff flaps or up as an alternative. We'll run takeoff flaps. We're on a short runway here. Flight controls, de-ice, pitot heat needs to be on. De-ice as required. And let's see here. I think we're all right. And there's our takeoff instructions. We're going to be rotating between 48 and 55 knots depending on weight. Initial climb at 65 knots. Retract flaps 200 feet AGL. And accelerate to 95 knots. All right. Well, let's give it a shot, guys. So let's do lighting. Looks like that's taxi lights and landing. Yep. Okay. So there's taxi. And then nav lights. I think that's a strobe right there. Let's go back to our lights view. Is that 3? No, that was 4. Yep, strobe lights are in there on the bottom right. Okay. Let's release the parking brake and see what we got with this bird. Whoa. Track IR, behave yourself. Oh, come on. I hate it when you do this. Just want to look down. Thank you. All right, parking brake is released. We're just going to go through these vehicles. We're going to plow through them. Adding some power. This van just keeps making circle after circle after circle. I am invincible. Trying to get myself comfortable here. And the visors, I believe, do work. Yep. That's kind of neat. Like I said, I love little things like that. I really do. And you know, at the first time I saw it, I thought the visors were actually kind of silly. Whoa, gosh, she accelerates quickly. Very quickly. I thought the visors were kind of silly the first time I ever used one. Oh, that's not the right taxiway. That's the right taxiway. Oh, come on, little lady. The rudders are very interesting. All right, so let's do strobe lights on, takeoff lights on, takeoff flaps are set. Hey, she gets moving, man. Be a little weird getting used to that. It turns nicely, though. It's just sensitive. You just got to be ready for it. All right, we're going to need a lot of runway here, so I'm going to try to stop her quickly. Okay, and let's double check our altimeter. Yep, we're good. And here we go. We're going to power up. Airspeed alive. There's 50 knots. There's 55 knots. Wow. Like, it gets up. Although, I'm not sure about that whole 55 knots rotation. That was more like 60 knots, but that's okay. Or that was 80 knots, excuse me. Now I'm going to check. Yep, no landing gear activity. So yeah, stationary landing gear. Ah, what's with the sound? That's depressing. Let me try moving the camera. So at certain points, that's so weird. Look at that. If you do that, you get it. Let me make sure I'm not going to slam into a mountain here. So exterior sounds kind of lame. Not going to lie. We're going to fly between these mountains here. I want to see if we get the you-know-what kicked out of us. 200 feet above AGL. Obviously, flaps are coming up. There we go. Got a little bump there. So assuming it's a nice calm day, I guess that would be legit. Trim is very responsive. Flies nice. Does fly nice. And I believe this aircraft is $24.99 on the marketplace. So my biggest gripe so far that I have for this aircraft is simply the exterior sounds. You know, especially as a content creator, that's kind of a big thing for me. But other than that, I mean, she's fast. Look at that. She moves. So climbs very well. Let's go ahead and set up the altitude, or autopilot altitude. So there's altitude hold. There we go, 1,500 feet. And let's do a heading hold. Heading bug did reset. And autopilot engaged. Alright, so now that we're there, I'm going to take a look and see at our checklist. And we're just looking at... Oh, you know what I didn't turn on? I didn't turn on the pitot heat. There we go. And what I'm looking for now is just cruise performance. There we go. So, normal cruise, we want propeller at 2,500 RPMs, which we're just about there. So pulling that pitch back. And then mixture is going to be lean to exhaust temperature. Although I'm not seeing... Where's my engine temp? There we go. Fuel pressure, oil temp, cylinder temp. There's fuel flow again. It's got to be fuel flow. Mixture at 75% power or less. Lean out. I'll have to do more research on this. I don't understand exactly what I'm doing. So what I normally do, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, I've heard this before. What I typically do is I will pull the mixture back until I start losing RPMs. So like right there, and then I bring it back on. So right about there. The second I start seeing a fall off in RPM, that's when I will you know, add the mixture back on. Brain fart, in case you guys didn't hear it. Alright, so autopilot functions great. No issues there. Obviously, if you guys have ever seen any of the aircraft with the GNS 530, it's going to work the same. We're cruising at about 120 knots. That's pretty awesome. And obviously, we're at low altitude. Now, this is just a little island jumper. I think we have an airport over here we can land at, but honestly, I want to try the St. Barth's landing. So let's go ahead and bring her around, and let's set up for that. You also have a power cruise option, by the way, which is propeller at 2,700 RPMs and throttle to full. And then, obviously, again, you lean to peak exhaust temperature. But this is a nice little airplane. I'm kind of stoked about it. Let's see how bad our view was. Remember with that? Yeah, dude, that just sucks, man. You can't see anything. What a view killer. I guess that's the way it goes sometimes. Can't have it all. Alright, so we're going to take her back on over here. And while we're doing that, let's take a look at what we're going to be looking for landing. Not going to worry about ILS. We're just doing... Alright, so on the approach, we're going to want landing lights on as required. Fuel pumps are on. Interesting. Huh. I wonder why you'd want the fuel pumps on at landing. It's interesting. Anyway, mixture full rich or as required. Propeller full forward. Altimeter obviously check with local QNH. Visual approach. 1,000 foot AGL at the downwind leg. Hey, what are you doing? Get over here. Let's turn that, set that heading back on. Okay. Base leg. So on downwind leg, flaps to take off, 6 nautical miles to go. Reduce speed to 70 knots. On the base leg, 3 nautical miles to go. We should be at full flaps. Start descending. Sink rate 500 feet to 1,000 feet per minute. Speed on final should be 51 to 58 knots depending on weight. I'm willing to bet we're going to be a little bit heavier than that, but we'll see how it goes. And then we want to do a slow flare once we cross the threshold. Slowly flare, throttles to idle. Touch down with main wheels first. That one, obviously, I would hope that's a no-brainer. But there we go. All right, let's go ahead and give this a shot. So what was that landing speed again? I already lost it. 55 to 58 knots. I'm guessing more like 60 knots is what we're going to be approaching at, but we'll see how things go. So let's see. Where's our runway? I always forget where it is from this angle. It's really odd. I think we're actually about to fly over it, if memory serves. I love the Caribbean area, though. Gosh, it's so pretty. I love flying out here. I take every excuse I can to fly out here. Oh, there it is. It's going to be a wicked approach, dude. Alright, so let's pull some power off. Now I'm going to pull the prop back just to help us slow down on the initial here. So they stop cutting through the air. Alright, we're passing through 1,000 feet, but we're in close. I'm going to go back to full prop. Now it wants fuel pumps on for landing. That's so odd. So fuel pump, plummeting into the water. That's the drag about having to use a mouse. That's a bad thing about having to use my joystick. I can't wait till I can get my honeycomb up and running again when we get to the new house. And you can just switch hands. It's a lot harder to do with the joystick. Alright, so we want to set takeoff flaps. So flaps 1 coming down. Right where those orange houses are, just underneath the compass, is our approach target, if memory serves. Flaps 2, trimming down. Landing lights are still on from takeoff, so we're good there. We're looking at about 70 knots here for the approach. Mixture coming back up. Looking for full flaps now. Bringing that power back in. I haven't done this approach in a long time. But there it is. You can see the end of the runway. This approach always scares the crap out of me, man. So it's real weird because you gotta like... Oh, not yet, not yet, not yet. Oh my god, we're gonna hit that tree. Cutting power, cutting power, cutting power, cutting power. Flare. Oh, baby, come on. Come on, darling. You gotta get down. You gotta get down, girl. Oof. Oh, come on. Come on. I really need you to stop playing. Alright, we got it. There she goes. That was cool. Looking back like I could see anything. Uh-oh, did I lose my engine? I did! Why did I lose the engine? That's interesting. What happened? Did I pull the throttle back too far? Mixture's still at full? That was interesting. So, I'm thinking I pulled the throttle back too far. But anyway, guys, this is actually a really cool little plane. I think we'll be using this aircraft more often. Definitely be seeing it on some of the live streams. This is a fun little plane. I like this plane. I'm really glad I picked this one up. Like I said, my biggest gripe, I think, would just be the exterior sounds. The flight model isn't perfect. You can tell it's a little bit on the simpler side, but definitely enjoyable. Absolutely enjoyable. So let me know what you guys think of this aircraft, especially if you pick it up. And if you already have it, tell us your experiences with it down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Well, as always, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next one, folks. Take care.